There comes a time when you gotta make a choice to stand up or serve on bended knee. It's got a name, it's got a place in the USA called sweet liberty.
A new social justice policy making its way through state governments is called, are you ready? Gross national happiness. Under the health plank of Agenda 21, it is an attempt to qualify in psychological terms general well-being. If allowed to move forward, gross national happiness will slowly replace gross national product as the standard to measure the health of the nation. Rather than using economics, it will measure social trends that affect the quality of life. Gross national happiness preaches that the pursuit of money and things causes stress and degrades the environment. Again, it laments that only some achieve rich, comfortable lives, so the only answer can be to equally spread the wealth. Redistribution, confiscation, rules and regulations. Now, I don't know about you, but all that government in my life causes me stress. And it makes me very unhappy. The gross national happiness is then combined with, are you ready? The Happy Planet Index. This was developed by an NGO group called the New Economy Foundation, and I'm sure with a bunch of your tax dollars. At its core, the Happy Planet Index argues that long and happy lives must be the nation's ultimate goal and not merely all this insatiable economic goals. This is, of course, based on the idea that some planners in a government office taking a survey of what makes us happy and then applying it to some psychological mumbo-jumbo to its results is the proper role for government. And you wonder why the economy is collapsing as the things from a bad LSD trip become serious policy actually considered by real government agencies? What I have just revealed to you comes from official documents from the state of Maryland. And I looked this up too. There are 381,000 references to gross national happiness on the internet. And a few weeks ago in Tennessee, there was a major sustainablist rally demanding gross national happiness. Gross national happiness is the same as social justice, and it is key to understanding the many policies of Agenda 21. All of this is in the philosophy behind your city council imposing such a mission statement that says the innovations mentioned are based on achieving and enforcing the goals of social equity at your expense. The second E, economic prosperity. At the root of Agenda 21 economics are public-private partnerships pulled together into a government-driven economy called corporatism. It is capitalism or free markets, though it may have some of the trappings. The marketplace is still there, but ultimately, corporatism does not trust the marketplace to do what the elites want done. The partnerships allow for special tax breaks, access to land for some developers but not others, non-compete clauses in government projects that guarantee profits, access to grants and lucrative special government projects, and much more. Under public-private partnerships, there is a guarantee of protection and what they call profits. Corporations that play ball get the power of government, and government gets to hide behind the independence of private business. Thus, the partnership between corporations and government is done at the expense of ordinary people. The exact opposite effect of free markets controlled by consumers. This is the new way business is being run in America under sustainable development. The business plan for the day, lobby for regulations. They argue that it's good for the economy, creating jobs by destroying things from the past. They say it's good for the economy to enforce regulations to make people buy things they didn't need before. Well, it's certainly not free enterprise or open markets. The true description of government is government-sanctioned monopolies, right out of the Mussolini fascist playbook. And the 30, ecological integrity. Well, that's just the excuse for it all. To understand the power of the transformation of society under sustainable development, consider this quote from the UN's Biodiversity Treaty, which was also introduced at the UN's Earth Summit in 1992. He says, quote, "Nature has an integral set of different values, cultural, spiritual, and material, where humans are one strand in nature's web and all living creatures are considered equal. Therefore, the natural way is the right way, and human activity should be molded along nature's rhythms. Even if it means a rattlesnake is walking among you, you cannot kill it because that's the natural way." Am I right? This quote lays down the ground rules for the entire Sustainable Development Agenda. It says humans are nothing special, just one strand in the nature of things, or put another way, humans are simply a biological resource. You know what's incredible about that? Humans wrote that, not antelope. It's just amazing to me. These people stand there in suits and look human, and this bile comes out of them. I don't know. Sustainablest policy interprets any action man takes as a direct damage to the environment. This is necessary, sustainabilists say, because humans only defile nature. In other words, sustainabilists view man as nothing more than a swarm of locusts which swoops down on nature and sucks it clean until there's nothing left. Nothing good comes from man, according to sustainablist literature. And private property ownership and control is a main target of sustainable development. Consider this quote from the report of the 1976 UN's Habitat I conference, which said, quote, "Land cannot be treated as an ordinary asset, controlled by individuals and subject to the pressures and inefficiencies of the market. Private land ownership is also a principal instrument of accumulation and concentration of wealth and therefore contributes to social injustice." End quote. The fact is, Agenda 21 is a blueprint to completely change our society to a top-down planned central economy and a strange mixture of socialism, fascism, and corporatism. To convince Americans to accept it required something that would get us to sacrifice our natural rights voluntarily. The answer? Environmental Armageddon. You must sacrifice freedom to protect the planet. It's urgent, we're told. Do you doubt that? Then consider this quote by Alexander King, the co-founder of the Club of Rome. He said, quote, "In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine, and the like would fit the bill. All of these dangers are caused by human intervention. The real enemy then is humanity." End quote. So the urgency's on. Global warming is feeding the hysteria. There's no time to consider things like individual concerns and wants and needs. Selfish, cries the sustainabalist. We must save the environment, go green, get out of your cars, stop using energy, sacrifice, cut your carbon footprint, or perish. And so, federal and state governments, working hand in hand with a horde of non-governmental organizations, private groups, with personal political agendas, force passage of rules and regulations passed down to local communities. But, say your local officials, none of that UN socialist stuff is true. Just conspiracy.
There comes a time when you gotta make a choice to stand up or serve on bended knee. It's got a name, it's got a place in the USA called Sweet Liberty.